Welcome back. If you watched the last video, I promised to show how to make something like this. Using the stencil we made last time. If you want to learn how to make this, I'll have a link to the last video in the description, because we're going to use this to make the template to make this. You're going to take 2 sheets of paper, use painter's tape, scotch tape, packing tape. Be sure to get both sides because you don't want this flapping back. Take the template that we created last time. You can just aim towards the bottom a little bit because you need a lot of room for the ears. Now what I do is I'll take it. So we know that the eye hole and the strap hole are in the right positioning. Just kind of use that as a reference right there. I want to give a little bit more cheek than what that is, since this only kind of comes right under the eyes. I want it to come down more. You can just kind of eyeball it and figure it out. This may be something that you'll end up recreating several times, trying to get the right width. You can take this and measure from the bottom of your eye to the corner of your mouth to establish how far down you want to go. That's not set in stone. You can actually make this super long and come down to a point, or you can scale it back if you want, and you can leave it like that if you want. That's totally up to you. Now you're gonna draw a line to kind of form the forehead part of the mask. Again, you can measure in between your eyes to your hairline, or if you're bald like me, where your hairline used to be, or again, you can just kind of eyeball it. The ear design, it's really kind of awkward, and if I draw it out, you're gonna be like, what in the hell is that? So I'm going to take this one and cut it to show you what I'm talking about. And this is Miss Penguin's mask, so I will replace that. So. The ear is actually kind of shaped like an arrow, and then their holes, put 2 holes right there and 1 there, and they're pulled together and stitched to give it that shape. And I'll show you how I stitch, just so you can understand what this next design is going to do, or why it's going to be shaped the way it is. It's to create that. Fun side note with this design is that if you want to make it into a cat mask, just bring the ears up like so. Or if you want to do a bear mask, what's key with the mask is when you come up, I really have no mathematical formula for this. Just kind of make it into points like so. And you're actually going to have there, pull there, pull there, and pull there. And if you want to break out a ruler or compass, or just try to freehand it, whatever is easiest for you, do it. And now we cut it free. Take your leather, pop that bad boy out. Like I had explained before, I prefer to use the chisel tip Sharpie. They're the wider ones, and then you can just draw over the line to make sure that you get a nice clean line that's left behind. One thing you want to make sure when drawing out your stencil like this is don't let this thing slide around, because that can be a big pain to try and line it back up. I always do eyes first, because if I screw up and accidentally slip and come into the piece, at least I've only done that far, and I haven't done this whole thing. And then at the very end, this is the one spot where it can make or break the piece. You want to protect the surface that you're going to be staining on top of, because it will bleed through. You see the green and the red. You want to remember, you are made of the same material as this, so you wear gloves. In the last video, I talked about going to Home Depot to buy the sponge to apply the stain, and I said it was $3 for like one like this. I went a day or two after making that video, and they sell a value pack for $3. That's how cheap these things are. That's why you just cut off a little piece, use it. When you're done, just chunk it. Get them bloods on. If we were watching Nick Zametti, I don't want to look up the soundtrack or the sound bite to go when he puts on his gloves. Meh. We're going to do a little bit of a funner color. We're going to go ahead and use purple. Everyone always does shit in black or brown, and it was Miss Penguin that taught me that sometimes it's fun to just use fun colors. You know what, screw that. We're going to go really fun and use fuchsia. We're going to do something a little different. I've never tried this either. We're going to use both of them. Screw it. I'm going to use like purple, maybe fade to fuchsia, and see what happens. I'm going to admit this is going to be a first for me, trying to blend two colors like this, so you get to join me on this little adventure. It's best to do the lighter color first and then to do the darker color second. I think what I'm going to do is stain the whole backside pink, and then I'm going to stain the whole thing pink, let it dry, and then I'm going to do a second coat of pink, and then I'll add the purple on the second coat. That way I don't have to worry about trying to come up to lines, and maybe we can get a cool blending effect. So wish me luck. Now comes the fun part. This has been sitting for about, I don't know, 10-15 minutes, and you can tell it's already kind of dried, and the second coat would have had to have been applied anyways, because as you can kind of see how it's kind of patchy. Lighter stains are like that. They'll need 2 to 3 coats. Usually 2 is fine, except for the color green. The green water stain I actually stopped using because it would take like 4 or 5 coats. I don't know what it is about that, but it was with this product. Other products may not have that problem. I don't know. I will say this about using the green. Miss Penguin came up with a really, really cool technique doing this kind of daubing thing to it, and it produced a really awesome effect. Now we'll take the purple. And by all means, if you ever want to experiment and do the purple and then the pink on top, that's the beauty of this, is however you want to experiment, and you'll come up with some really cool effects. There's that daubing effect, which really helps get rid of the streaks and help kind of blend in. You do not want to use the same sponge on 2 different colors, but a little bit of overlap doesn't hurt nobody. We're going to let this dry and then come back and check it out. So we'll give that another 10 minutes or so and take a look at it. We're going to use our Super Sheen leather finish. We'll apply 2 coats of this, let it dry. Then I'll show you how to stitch the ears before we do the wet forming. So here we go. We'll give that about 10-15 minutes to dry, and then we'll apply the second coat. Easy peasy. Now comes the fun part, stitching the ears. Take your thread. I happen to have a red one, so I think that would look kind of cool. Give yourself a pretty decent amount of length. It makes it easier for tying and doing everything. Take 2 needles, go ahead and thread it. This is a wax thread. I like using wax thread for leather. You're gonna start off On the back side, gonna feed your needle through both of the holes, like so. Pull them, just kind of snug them up. Get them as even as possible. It's not like super important if they're perfect because you're gonna be cutting a lot of excess off. This hole on the right, you're gonna connect to this hole right here. Just gonna pull it set to the side. You're going to do this needle through this hole, so you're kind of like that. Then you're gonna pull it in. I realized when I filmed the stitching of the ears, I didn't have the best camera angle, so I'm going to redo it, but I'm going to, since I still need to fix Miss Penguin's mask, I'm just going to demonstrate on it and try to get a little bit better angles and shots. Let me get this set up and show you how to stitch the ears. First step, take your thread and go ahead and give yourself a pretty decent amount. You're going to be cutting off the excess, and having a little too much is a lot easier to work with than just having a super small amount. You're gonna wanna start by feeding both of the needles through, pulling them through. You're going to take the left needle and bring it to the back side of the right hole on the ear. Pull it around and then go through. Just go ahead and feed up to keep it out of the way. Now you take the needle that came through the right hole and feed it over the left side of the ear, up and through, put it up, through. Where they come up, and then when they cross over, they go up and through. This is on the left side. Come underneath all the other string like that, feed it, pull it through, and pull it out of the way. This one on the right, same thing, feed it through the hole on the right. What you do, take it, pull it tight. That's the beauty of the wax thread, because it can take a tugging. Go ahead and pull the box knot. I do 3 knots. There may be better knots out there, I just don't know. So there. Cut off your excess, take your lighter. There you go. With the wet forming, like I had said in the last video, some people will actually submerge the panel or the piece that they're doing. I just get the thing damp and then I go to town, and I haven't had much issue going that route. So it's up to you. I do recommend exploring both techniques and see what you like. All right, got our wet piece of leather, got our trusty styrofoam head. I always start off by folding it in half to kind of help get that bridge of the nose. And then what I also do sometimes is I'll try to curl the eyebrow. What's nice is that when the piece is damp like this, it's really pliable, pliant. I hold it down at the bridge of the nose and curl it over. And I always go through the strap hole first. And then I do like to get the corner of the eyes. I just work from one side to the other side. Then we let that dry. Got one extra pin, so boop. In the last video, we used some leather thong as the strapping. This time we're going to use paracord. The best way to get the measurement that you want, start at your temple, go ahead and wrap around your head, and then wrap again to your temple. And cut that down. You'll want a lighter. Try to smush it down, but it's almost kind of like a point, because it'll help feed it through. Now when you have the whole length like this, go ahead and tie knots at the end. And find the center point. Cut it in half. Burn those ends. And now you feed them through. Feed them from the front side going through. You can paint me like one of your French girls. That's it for this edition of Penguin After Dark. Thank you for tuning in and joining us. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment, hit the bell notification, and all that stuff. And thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. And until next time, boom!